Hi everyone. We typically send some nicely curated video content to all of our consults and surgical patients so that you truly understand the process or the procedure or the logic behind what we do. Okay, so one of the common questions is explain what exactly is done in a lower eyelid blepharoplasty or eyelid surgery. It's very different than the upper eyelid, and there's a lot of considerations that have to be a lot of factors to be taken into consideration to do lower lid surgery. So let's go through specifically about the lower lid anatomy first, quickly, so you understand, and then we talk about how we address some changes that happen with aging. Okay, so the first thing I want you to notice, right, is this is a typical eye, and this happens to be, to me, the left eye of somebody when I'm looking at them head on, because this is the inner corner, this is the outer corner, this is the eyeball, this is the lid margin where the lashes are going to be, this is the lid crease above the lashes. Okay, and these green blobs are supposed to represent the fat pockets that bulge out as we age, and sometimes young people have it as well, and this is supposed to represent the bony rim underneath it, or that we can feel when we touch our bony rim. So what happens when the lower lid ages? The first thing that can happen is the fat bulges. So this stuff bulges, right? All of this stuff bulges. The second is skin loosens. All of this skin here can get looser. The third thing, develop hollowness. So all of this area in this general area becomes hollow. So this area here, up here, because of the fat, will bulge. The area below it is going to become hollow. So this is going to be hollow, and this area is going to bulge, right? And the fourth thing that can happen is that the lid margin itself can loosen. So instead of it being a nice tight line like this, it can become loose and go lower than we want it. So it can loosen this way, like this. That makes the eye also look very lazy and droopy. So, and the skin pigment darkens. Okay? So those are generally the lower eyelid specific changes that happen. Of course, the lower eyelid doesn't sit in isolation in the face, right? Lower eyelid is related to the cheek mound. It's related to, you know, the bony prominence here, right here. So bone landmarks. So it is changing in relation to other aspects of the face, and all of it has to blend in to make a face and lower eyelid specifically look better, right? So these are the changes that I'm going to talk about in regards to the lower eyelid improvements. So let's just take, what do we do about the fat bulges? These fat bulges are actually cushions, in a sense, to think about for the eyeball as it sits inside the bony socket of the face. And as you age, you know, the covering that keeps it where it needs to be gets softer and weaker and loosens, and then the fat essentially herniates outward and creates these bulges. Because of various, you know, you can think of them as partitions of the tissue, they generally appear as three separate compartments: the inner, the center, and the outer, or you can call it medial, central, lateral, you know, but they are visibly outwardly in different compartments, but essentially they're a continuum of fat inside the eyeball area. Okay, so the only true way to remove the fat bulges is to remove them surgically. There's no other option. So this is a surgery to truly improve that. If you don't want surgery, you can certainly add filler around this area. You can add filler in the hollow area below, so that the bulged area and the hollow area become a bit more uniform in nature. Okay, so if you're not ready to remove that, what else can you do? You can add some filler underneath or fat in some cases underneath to fill it up a little bit more. The skin also loosens. Well, what are the options there? So surgery for skin, but surgery for skin removal of the lower lid is risky and has to be very judiciously and conservatively done, because if you take too much skin out, the lid tends to contract downward and create a very tight looking, bad lid. If you can see my eye right here, it actually can heal this way. I'm exaggerating, of course, but if you pull too much skin out, it can heal in a bad position. I'm exaggerating and it doesn't do that much, but generally that's the idea. You want to minimize that. So you have to be extraordinarily cautious and judicious on how much skin is resected of the lower lid. You can do some for sure, but be very, 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 very judicious, okay? So you can do some surgery. You can also do some lasers to tighten the skin. You can do radio frequency microneedling to tighten the skin. You could do chemical peels to tighten that skin. So you could do various things to tighten the skin. If you because you cannot take out too much skin in surgery. You can take out some, but it's still not going to be adequate in some cases. In that case, you have to add other components to make it even better. So that's for the loose skin. If you develop hollowness, which we just talked about, you can add fat or filler there. Even if you take out this fat here, many times after you remove it, it can look hollow because now you've taken out and created some hollowness. And so it's always good to add a little bit of volume if you want to make it nice and smooth, because what you want is to have the cheek and the eye nice and smooth. So if you were to look at it in side profile, the fat, this is the eyeball here, obviously. The fat sits here, and this hollowness in this area needs to be filled in, this area here, because it can have a depression and the cheek comes out like this. So this area needs to be filled in right here. I hope that's pretty clear, right? So this can be added with filler or fat. So this is a side view of the eyeball that I'm just showing here very quickly. This is the lower lid margin. This is where the fat sits. This is where the bone is. And the skin, as it comes down and drapes down, can have this hollowness right here, and the cheek comes out like this. So this looks very hollow. And even when the light shines outside or in a room, because it's a hollow area, it always looks darker just from the light reflection, and these areas look lighter, so this always looks darker. So you have to fill up this area with fat or some type of filler, and it's a tricky area to do because it's the lower eyelid. Many people don't like to do it, many people don't know how to do it, so make sure that you have somebody experienced enough to do that filler and fat for you there. So that's for the hollowness. Lid margin loosens. We talked about the lid margin that loosens. So if your lid margin loosens, sometimes you have to anchor it to the bone on the side to pull it and make it tighter. Okay, this maneuver is called a canthopexy, or if it's a bit more involved, it's called a canthoplasty, just so you understand the terminologies and the words, because they do come up. Okay, so if there's loosening of the lower lid where the lid looks like it's got too much laxity, so one of the tests we do is called a snapback test. If you pull the lid, how far can you pull it out, pull it away from the globe, and if you push it down, how long does it take to snap back up? So there's ways to kind of check it, and then if it's too loose, and the physician's experience or the surgeon's experience and judgment will dictate that, you can do canthopexy, which is basically taking the lid margin and anchoring it, making it tighter so it pulls this way like a hammock and tightens it up against the eyeball, or do something more involved, which we don't need to get to the difference between the two, but you can do one of those two. Okay, so that's a canthopexy or a canthoplasty if there's lid margin issues. If there's skin pigment issues where it darkens because of the light reflexes and also the pigment itself changes, the best thing to do for that is going to be to do lasers for that, which we just spoke about. So those are the various components of the lower lid. And now let's briefly talk about surgery and approaches to surgery. You could do what we call a transconjunctival approach or skin approach, just for terminology. I'm not going to be too scientific here, but this is important because I can't substitute that word. Transconjunctival approach essentially means, again, if you look at me, we pull the lid down, and from the inside of the lid, on the lower lid, we can access the fat from the inside and then go and do what we need to do. That is a transconjunctival approach, where there's no incision on the outside, and that is done specifically to remove the fat. You can also go from the outside, where you make a little incision underneath the lashes from the skin side, and do the same thing, because you're trying to get to the same way, whether it's like coming from the back door or the front door of a house, but you're getting into the house. So that's what you're doing, and this is done by some surgeons, this is done by other surgeons, preference and experience, and whatever they believe is going to get them the best outcome. So that's the one approach for the surgery, because we're trying to address that. The skin resection can only be done from the skin side. So in some cases, you can go from the transconjunctival approach, which is from the inside of the eye, to take the fat out and leave it alone, and then come on the outside and just pinch some skin and take out. So there's a concept called a pinch blepharoplasty. A pinch blepharoplasty is a very specific thing. All you're doing is pinching a little bit of skin with your what we call forceps or tools, and then just pinch a little bit of skin and see how much skin can be removed without pulling the lid down or making it too tight or being too aggressive, and you resect that skin and stitch it up. That's called a pinch blepharoplasty, is a technique. So one thing that I sometimes do is that I do this approach for the fat, and I do this approach for the skin removal. So I add these two together and do it. I typically do this for aggressive or very bad problematic cases, but on an average case, I usually take this one and combine skin removal and also the fat removal to make the eyelid much smoother. I almost always add lasers if patients agree, to improve the skin quality. Our esthetician does radiofrequency microneedling sometimes, or chemical peel sometimes, and I almost always recommend fillers or fat with lower eyelid surgery, again, if you want to get the best outcome possible. The surgery almost always is one and done, for the most part. Occasionally, sometimes, some patients may need a bit more than that, but for the most part, it's just one time. But the fat or the filler may need to be done more than once to create a nice smooth transition, where you do not want this kind of a look where there's a hollowness here, which does not look good. Okay, so that we talked about the pinch blepharoplasty, we talked about the transconjunctival, we talked about the skin approach. So these are all the various components of a lower eyelid surgery. It's a lot more nuanced. It's a lot more there's a lot less room for error in the lower lid surgery than the upper lid surgery, because there's a lot of things to consider here. Okay, so hopefully the combination of all of this information will give you some specific detailed information to ask your surgeon, or if you come to me, we can talk about it, about lower eyelid bleph. Hopefully that'll help you. Thank you.